I'm Felix Leiter. Tonight I am playing for Wired Promotions at their Horizons Night at Mandela Hall with Tommy Trash.
Hi guys, Chris Stewart here from NewAndUpcomingEDM. Tonight we're at Wired Promotions presents Horizons and we are joined here by Felix Leiter. How are you?
I'm wicked, man. I'm really happy to be here. I'm psyched.
So let's get things started. How has 2014 been for you so far?
It's been really good. Obviously I'm kind of based in Newcastle, which obviously really isn't that far away from here. We've had a great year with Electrico, which is kind of my club brand. Starting off the year with people like W&W, Martin Garrix, Dioro, playing our birthday. Moving through to kind of doing the main stage at the festival with Tommy Trash, Dimitri Vegas like Mike Nervo. You know, we've had a great year as a brand. I play it sort of digital quite regularly as a resident, which has been really good. It's a fantastic club. Yeah. You know, records wise, it's been a year of kind of like really trying to get my head down in the studio. Like, had a couple of releases this year, but it's really been a year where I've kind of refocused what I was trying to achieve and try to work with the right kind of people. So yeah, it's been a really good year actually.
Well, talking about new tracks, you have a new one coming out, Dorn Records, along with Ivo Ramos, titled Heal, and Steve Angelo actually dropped it as T in the Park State. We were actually there. What was it like to get support from the likes of Steve?
It was phenomenal, man, and like, you know, I wish I'd been there actually, because I remember I was just about to go to bed. I think it was on a Sunday night, or the Monday night, I think it was a Sunday night. And Abel was messaging me on WhatsApp going like, watch this video. He's like, Steve played the record. So obviously, I mean, we kind of wrote it, you know, with size in mind. You know, it's obviously a little bit of a nod to kind of a Nazi kind of thing in there, you know, and we sent it straight to Steve. You know, and Steve loved it, so, you know, so that was phenomenal. And, you know, he played it at Tomorrowland, sorry, he played it at T in the Park first, and played it on both weekends at Tomorrowland, which was great, and then he kind of played a lot of his festival sets. You know, so we kind of really hoped that it might get on size, but I think a few things kind of moved around and there was a lot of things going on at the time. And Sander just loved the record, so, you know, so when it wasn't really kind of moving with Steve because he had other, you know, priorities, you know, we just decided to put it out with Don. You know, we've had Sander on at Electrico before, he's a great guy. You know, and if you can't put it out on size, something like, you know, Dawn and the Spindle Imprint is, you know, is pretty impressive.
That's right. So as we mentioned, it was just alongside Ivo Ramos. What was it like to work with him on Heal?
I go back quite a long way with Abel. Like, I put a record out about 4 or 5 years ago called Sky High, and the woman who sang on it was called Marcella Woods, who is Michael Woods' brother. And she sang on the track, and Abel remixed that. I got Abel to remix that because I used to really play his remix of I Found You, which is an Axwell thing, and I loved that, so he did that. And then we've sort of been talking for a while, and then touching back to a little bit on that first answer, my head was really focused this year on trying to do a lot of collabs with people and trying to kind of, you know, focus my sound on that kind of big room, groovy kind of progressive house stuff, and just try to touch base with a lot of people who are making records like that. So we sent a couple of ideas over to Abel, and he kind of picked up on that one. Went backwards and forwards for a couple of weeks, and then, you know, the record kind of, you know, just took shape, and then, you know, we both sent it to Steve, and it was great. But you find with records a lot of the time, sometimes things just happen and it's great, and then sometimes they can drag out for 8 months, and you just have to kind of go, look, just forget it. Like, but that was, you know, that was one that just kind of came together, and, you know, we try to work on a follow-up at the moment. So hopefully something will come on that as well. Yeah.
So are there any future collaborations or new tracks set to come out of your camp?
Yeah, I mean, loads. I've done records with Nathan C, who's a Ministry of Sound resident. We've got a track coming out on Starlight. I think that'll probably be my first track that I play tonight in Mandela Hall. I've done a track with Sam Thomason, who's a Belgian guy who's released on Protocol and Flamingo, and we've got a track together that we're just about finished. I'm currently working on a track with David Tort, who's another kind of Spanish guy in Abel Ramos camp that I'm really excited about. And obviously Abel and I are trying to work on something to follow up with Halo, and we're just trying to get a kind of a vibe on that. So yeah, it's an interesting, you know, it's an interesting way to make music, really, I suppose. Like, it's something that I didn't look at for a long time, and it's a lot of the time. Sometimes you send a record, and this happened with Abel. We send a record that we think we've kind of done, and I will send you this big email back going, you know, I'll change this and change that, and you get the email and you're like, oh, you know, what does he know? Like, and then you go through the email and you change the bits and bobs and you kind of go, oh, actually, yeah, that's wicked. So it's just sometimes good to have a fresh pair of ears on something. You know, sometimes you can get lost in the mix when you're not thinking about what you're actually writing, or sometimes you can get so lost in the writing that you're not listening to the mix. So sometimes it's just really good to send it to a fresh pair of ears.
Yeah. So taking things to your future plans, now this is a real big one. You've announced plans to start your own label, Electrica Records, in 2015. What's the motive behind this?
The motive really, I suppose, is you know, is severalfold. Like, is I suppose my frustration sometimes with the bigger labels, and how they treat and how it works for what I would deem myself to be as one of the smaller guys. I suppose there's a motive out there to try and collect together a crew of people whose music I really enjoy and whose music that I really enjoy supporting, and to try and help them. You know, for as much as I don't, you know, for as much as I still consider myself to be a real small player in this, you know, there's guys out there who I'd love to be able to help to reach that next level. And I feel like I'm not going to spoil your next question, so I'll let you ask that one.
Yeah, as I was going to say, you must be a strong believer in the upcoming talents that are establishing themselves in a very, what would we say, crowded scene.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just trying to create, you know, the more and more that I've got into DJing, and the more and more that I've got into production, the more and more I've understood things, is that I used to, and I think a lot of people sometimes do, is chase something, like they chase a sound or they chase a scene or whatever. And what I've kind of really come to settle on myself is that you've really got to be proud and be honest of where you want to be and what your sound is. And if that sound maybe isn't the sound that's quite working right now, then don't just abandon it and chase something else.
Stick at it.
Well, yeah, stick with it, morph it, you know, progress it, you know, whatever, but don't just abandon it.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the biggest, probably, you know, one of the biggest, you know, some people that proves this is MK. MK's been doing exactly the same thing for about 20 years. You know, I've got remixes when he was remixing The Shaman, and you know what I mean, and he was doing the same sort of records that he's doing now. And you know, that guy is selling out arenas. He's a lovely guy. He's a very talented producer. But what I mean is, he's just stuck to what he's done for a long time. And that's not to say that you can't evolve and move. Of course, you have to. It's an industry, it's business. But you know, label-wise, I just wanted to try and, you know, group together some people that kind of, we all maybe have a similar musical ethos, and just kind of push us on together a little bit. And you know, it's not like, you know, I've invented this idea. You know, you look at it's exactly what, you know, Steve's done. It's exactly what, you know, Axwell's done. It's exactly what Sanders done. So it's a kind of tried and tested idea. But there is a different, for me, and maybe it's the next question, is a different ethos that I want to try and bring to the label.
Yeah, which is the thing we find very satisfying about the label, and it's not often you see this on the scene. All earnings are going to the artists.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is the idea. It's a new label, you know, with a new ethos for that digital age. And essentially, what frustrated me and continues to frustrate me is there's some phenomenal music out there that isn't getting a platform. And now, what's really changed? I used to own a record shop, you know, years ago when I left school and didn't want a real job. I opened a record shop because I wanted to DJ and sell music and be involved in music. And that was, you know, that was when people were still only just DJing on vinyl and stuff like that. And it's a different age now, you know. It's a different place. You don't get £20,000 for remixing a record like David Morales did. You don't earn a lot of money from your music. Your music is just a calling card, it's a business card to get you to do your gigs, to your shows. And what I want to do is I want to give, obviously I'm not just going to release anything, it's still about the family, it's still about finding people that have a similar musical ethos and pushing it forward. But what I want to do is I want to give them a bit of the control back and a bit of the power back. And what that means is that, you know, if we believe in your record, we believe in you as an artist, we don't want to take anything from you. You've made the music, you know, you get the money, you know. So essentially we're a digital platform. You know, what we want to do is, you know, Crider's done it amazingly with So See Me, which is obviously at the moment a free download thing, but you know, I'm sure he's got plans for that in the future. He's a really clever guy. But essentially the idea for Electrica is to find a family and is to give them a platform to get exposure, and what we're going to do by that is we're not going to take money from it. We're not going to take 50%. We're not going to take anything from the artist. The artist will see. We're going to be completely transparent. If you the thing that frustrated me a lot about putting records out with other labels is you never know until, and people who don't put records out might not know this. You sign a record to someone, you might have to wait 6 months until it comes out. And even when it comes out, you might not wait until 6 months. You might see Beatport charts if you're lucky enough to get in there, but you might not see until 6 or 9 months after that how many times this record even sold. And what I want to do is I've built a system, you know, I've worked with some distributors and some PR people, and when you put, you know, if you send a record to Electric and we put it out, you're going to be able to see week on week how many records you've sold, and you're going to be able to look at that. So you're going to be able to realise if you sold 100 records and you're in the charts, or if you sold 3 records, you know, and and you're going to see that every bit of that money is going to come back to you. You know, there's obviously other kind of ideas within the label of making sure that that music is supported, making sure that, you know, we're not just going to put music out and let it disappear. But the general end game is that if we believe in our record enough and we believe in you as a producer enough, we're not going to take a cut of the money, and the money's yours.
So going on the upcoming talents and, you know, advising them, what would be the one piece of advice you would give to an upcoming talent?
It's so difficult now because, you know, and I'm sure Tommy might mention the same thing if you speak to him, but the game's changed so much, you know. I suppose a few years ago it would be that, when I started watching DJs, they just were DJs and they played other people's music, and you went to see a DJ mix other people's music in a way that you probably maybe hadn't heard before and made you dance and entertained you. And then with the advent of the Swedes and Avicii and, you know, and Guetta, and this is all positive, by the way, I don't have any, you know, every business has to move forward and evolve, but with the advent of this, it's almost like you want to go and see your favourite band play your favourite record, whoever that band is. And that's kind of a little bit of what DJing's become, is you want to say, you know, you saw Steve Angelo play, you know, Wasted Love, or you want to see Avicii play Hey Brother, or you want to see, you know, and it doesn't matter whether, you know, I've used some commercial examples there, but it might be that you want to go and see Horton play this, or Deadmau5 play that, or, you know,
Result play Paradise.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So it's slightly changed a little bit. So, you know, advice-wise, it's, you know, and you see some of these kind of memes or whatever you call them on Facebook, you know, you see it and it's like, but you've got to master everything. You've got to be a good DJ. You know, I still believe that with all my heart. You know, it's not, you know, the debate about controllers or anything else, I'm not really interested in. I don't care how you do it, but you've still got to be good. You've still got to create an excitement. You've still got to know, you know, when to hold the tension, when to build it, when to drop that record, when to go big, when to hold it, when to make the crowd want it. You know, that's whether you use a controller, whether you use vinyl or CDs or USBs, it doesn't matter. There's still an art form of DJ. But then you've got to make some records, or you've got to make some edits, or you've got to make something. Then you've got to master social media. You've got to have, you know, a good presence on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You know, then you've got to get gigs, and you've got to. So it's like, you know, advice-wise, God, I don't even know where to start. Like, you know, definitely get a copy of, you know, buy it, get a copy of Able to, do you know what I mean? Because at the very least, even if you're not going to produce music, in this day and age, to make your sets different, you've got to make edits, you've got to make mashups, you've got to, you know, you've got to do something to make yourself stand out from the crowd. You know, really love your music, really believe in what you play, and it sounds such a corny thing, and I'd probably hate someone else hearing it say it, but if you believe in the music that you play in, it will work for you at some point. It might take a year, it might take a decade, but, you know, look at MK, if you believe in what you're doing, it will work. And music is so secular that it's going to come back to you at some point.
Let's get on to tonight's gig. Are you excited to perform alongside Tommy Trash?
Yeah, man. I mean, we had Tommy Trash at our festival at the start of the year. It was amazing. Like, Tommy Trash is such a great performer, such a great producer, such a great DJ. So it's, you know, it's an honour to be on the same bill as him. I love playing in Belfast. I love playing in Ireland. I played in, you know, I played Londonderry, I've played in Lush and Kerry and Port Rush. I've played in Thompson's in Belfast. I've played in Aldovino in Belfast. But I've never played here before. You know, so many people that I know have said it's such a great venue. So yeah, I'm genuinely really excited.
Really, that's all we got time for, but we'll finish on one last question. Can we expect to see Felix back in Northern Ireland soon?
I hope so. You know, I hope the Horizons guys do really well. I hope this show does really well. You know, I hope that I can come back and play for these guys again real soon. If not, I know I was talking to JK, my friend, before, and he's, you know, I've got a friend DOD who's over playing on, is it next Tuesday or the Tuesday after at Thompson's? Yeah. You know, so I'd love to come back and play at Thompson's again. It's a wicked little club. So yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Well, that's really all we got time for, but I'd like to thank you for
thank you, man.
talking this, and we'll see how tonight's the gig goes.